This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
A Baintown family will be getting a brand new home next week, courtesy of the government.
The family of 7 has been living in squalor for a number of years. That is until Bain and Grantstown Urban Renewal stepped in to give them a fresh start.
Tues Munnings has their story.
A family of 7 has been living in this 2-bedroom home on Bow Street for 5 years. They've made some renovations to this dilapidated structure to make it their own home, but all of that changed on Tuesday. It only took a tractor about 10 minutes to demolish the home off Finlayson Street, thanks to the Bain and Grantstown Urban Renewal Program. Donisha Sherman thanks everyone involved in helping her family move into a new home.
I'm more happy for my mommy because she been through a lot. But she been talking about it ever since before they even started, from they tell her what they was going to do. So we're more happy for the children and her.
And the new 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom residence is located directly behind their old home. Construction began this past February. An officer in charge of the Bain and Grantstown Urban Renewal Program, Inspector Anthony Roll, says the family will move in next week Friday after an official dedication ceremony.
So we decided to pick the voice of the voice, and this one was chosen. So we decided to put our community effort together to reconstruct a home for this family.
Bain and Grantstown Member of Parliament, the Honourable Dr. Bernard Nottage, watched the demolition Wednesday afternoon. He believes it will create a cleaner neighbourhood and restore this historic area of New Providence.
We've learned now how to get it done, not through the official urban renewal channels, but through being available and visible in the area, gaining people's confidence and finding out what their problems are. And so we hope that this is just going to be the first of several.
Another house demolition is scheduled for Bain and Grantstown by the end of the year. Tues Munnings, ZNS Network News.
A big boost for the economy of San Salvador as a major development is set to take shape in a matter of months.
This is welcome news for residents as countless jobs are on the way. Yesterday, government and Club Med officials signed a multi-million-dollar agreement, paving the way for the project to begin.
Opal Roach was on the island for the signing.
You know, there's nothing more as important than getting Bahamians back to work.
And that's exactly what the $90 million Club Med expansion will do. Club Isle's executive have partnered with Sand and Ocean Investments in the upscale project. More than 300 jobs will become available once the project starts next year. And at the end of construction, 250 qualified Bahamians will be engaged. Developer Sophie Stanbrook says they're in it for the long haul.
We have every faith that this development will be the dawn of new opportunities for San Salvador and its inhabitants. More contracts for local businesses, more construction jobs, more jobs in the expanded resorts, increases in property prices, better local health services, better travel connections, all of which are good for local people and means more interest by future investors.
Club Med has 71 properties around the world, and the island hideaway used to be a favorite. Through this expansion, developers say they hope to get things back on track.
The project will have a complete refurbishment of the guest rooms, construction of a new spa, which is a mandatory on our premium clientele, and also lots of refurbishments in the center of the village. Our partner, Sun and Ocean, will be building in phases deluxe condo hotel, which just look like for deluxe room for us, but will be on a condo scheme, with the first phases which will happen next summer, and then the next phases a year later.
Calling it a model for developments across the islands, Prime Minister Christie threw out this challenge.
There are at least 2 other islands I will invite you to right away. And I want you to know, whereas they smiled, I'm not, I'm deadly serious. Because if the whole motivation is to make money and to have a product that the world would love, let us remember this day that the Prime Minister of the Bahamas spoke to persons of means, the investors, and to persons of undoubted ability to manage, Club Med, and said Club Med has been here in other islands before.
I'm Opal Roach, ZNS Network News.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is reporting the apprehension of another group of Cuban migrants. The ministry says the 40 migrants, 39 adults and 1 child, presumed to be of Cuban descent, were arrested off Key Sal in the southern Bahamas yesterday. Reports are that a patrol team spotted a go-fast-type vessel with about 40 persons on board, traveling northbound from the La Isabela area of Cuba as early as last week Thursday, before the vessel was observed offloading the suspected Cuban migrants onto a deserted quay near Key Sal. The go-fast vessel was subsequently stopped in international waters. 2 smugglers were reportedly found on board the vessel and detained. The migrants, however, evaded capture until the 28th of October. It's expected that the transfer of the migrants from the southern Bahamas and delivery into the custody of Bahamian immigration authorities in New Providence for further processing and repatriation will be completed shortly.
Well, coming up in Family Island News, a gym that tells a story of enduring love. It's a story that will hit your heart. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Raw Fidelity Business News. I'm Andrew Knowles. Partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Gowan Bowe, says the impending value-added tax will bring with it a radical shift in the way that things occur, and the Bahamas cannot afford to have the tax reform system fail in its implementation. Bowe shared frank disclosures on the implications of that in the Bahamas with COB students during the recent Alumni Leader Series, highlighting that that is complex to put in place.
What we need to be very mindful of as a citizen, as a populace, that we are really putting forward the arguments that say, how do we make this change, which will be a seismic change, successful? It is not to delay it for the purposes of, I don't want to pay taxes for 6 more months. It is more from the perspective of, do I delay it to ensure that we don't have a massive failure on day one, which we can never recover?
The inaugural meeting of the National Anti-Money Laundering Task Force was held last week at the Office of the Attorney General. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Senator Allison Maynard Gibson welcomed the members of the task force and expressed pride in the appointment of a coordinator as well as the project's launch. One of the 40 recommendations of the Financial Action Task Force is the establishment of a national coordination body. Financial Services Minister Ryan Pinder asserted that the Bahamas has the most qualified and developed human capital when it comes to the technical expertise to guard against money laundering violations. And in international business news, McDonald's says it will stop serving Heinz ketchup in its stores after 40 years. The world's biggest fast food chain said it would drop the ketchup after Bernard O'Heath, the former head of rival Burger King, took over as Heinz chief executive. In February, Heinz was purchased in a $28 billion takeover. McDonald's said that it would work with Heinz to ensure a smooth and orderly transition of the McDonald's restaurant business, which has 34,000 restaurants around the world. That was your Raw Fidelity Business News. I'm Andrew Knowles.